So let's go ahead and create two buckets. So I'm going to call this one My Global App, Stéphane, and then EU Central One. And I'm just going to go all the way down and create this bucket. And then I'm going to create another bucket. I'll call this one My Global App, Stéphane, US East One, and I will choose another region being US East One. Okay, so the reason why I am doing this is that I want to have two buckets in two different regions that will hold the same data and it will be served by the same multi-region access points. So then let's go into multi-region access points, and here we can create our multi-region access points. So I'll call this one My Global App, and then we need to add buckets into this access points. So here I will have app in this, and we have these two buckets that I wanted to add. So let's add these buckets, and you can see I can add more buckets, okay? But you only have one bucket per AWS region as far as it goes right now. Okay, so then do we want to block or to enable public access for this multi-region access points? And this is if you wanted to, for example, to make this public, but right now I'll leave it as default. And then we'll create this multi-region access point. And for this, I need to make sure that the name is lowercase, My Global App. All right. Now let's create this access point. So as we can see, it can take less than 30 minutes usually, but up to 24 hours to create. So we'll wait for it to be ready and I'll get back to you. So my multi-region access point is now ready. I can click on it and we have its ARN, we have its alias, and we have the buckets that's underneath. So if I click on these buckets, I can open them in new tabs. And before I do so, let's go into permissions. So permissions is how to access this multi-region access point. So we need to define an access point policy, which will allow our application to actually go through it. And then for replication and failover, this is where it gets interesting. So we have a map of what's happening for your replication and your failover. And as you can see right now, we don't have any replication rules. And we even have a warning saying that, yeah, your data replication might be incomplete because we're missing these rules. So fairly simple. We need to just create these replication rules, and there's a facility to do that from within. So let's create a replication rule. And here we have to choose, we want to replicate among all specified buckets or from 1 to different destinations. The simplest is obviously the first one, which was going to give us high availability and failover capabilities. So let's choose these buckets, and to enable the replication, we must enable bucket versioning. So this is done directly from this console as well. And then we enable the rules, okay. And do we want to limit the scope or do you want to apply to all objects in the bucket? We'll say all objects. And finally, let's go ahead and create these replication rules. So now they're created, and if you had more buckets, obviously you have replication rules across all the buckets. And when this is done, you can close this, go back to your map, and now you can see two-way replication for your buckets. And you can verify this by also going into your management, and here you can find your replication rules. So that's it. I'm not going to show you how to actually use it. This is more of an application-specific type of API calls, but at least we saw what these are made of. And just to finish, what you can do is just delete this multi-region access point. You're not paying anything for having it, but in case you are using it, you will pay extra charges based on how many gigabytes go through it. All right, that's it for this lecture. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.